Sicario finished 8th in the world last season, and he did it without any Root Riders. He used the double hero charge with the Fireball and the Frozen Arrow, and this army is insane. You have to give it a go. Here is the army comp that Sicario is coming in with. It is 9 healers and 5 of them are on the Warden. You do have the Unicorn on the Queen, but interestingly enough, brings the Jelly with the Warden, and I personally disagree with this, but I'm really curious to see. Now, if you're doing a quick Warden walk, right, then obviously the Jelly is really handy to speed that up, but Sicario is going to be Warden walking for essentially 3 minutes here and doesn't really need to speed the Warden charge up at all, but it does allow him to get that Fireball off quicker. But it's worth noting, he has a max Fireball, and because of that, he's only bringing 1 Quake, because the only thing that you can't take down with max Fireball and 1 Quake is the Eagle Artillery. However, the CC and the Ricochet Cannon, if a Builder Hut, say this Builder Hut here, starts healing the CC quickly enough, then the CC won't go down. So that's why, unless you have a max Fireball, always bring 2 Quakes. So with this army comp you see here, as we've got the Flame Flinger on the right hand side, I would drop the Skeleton Spell and bring a 2nd Quake. And essentially, all you need is a level 20 Fireball. I was running Fireball attack strategies with a level 21, and that's fine. All you need is a level 20 Fireball, preferably that max level Rage Gem to help out the healers. But yeah, level 20 Fireball, max Rage Gem, and that is enough with 2 Quake to be good enough for this army. Anyway, so now that the Fireball's done, we can kind of start with the Queen. I assume that's why it brings the Jelly, because it would be hard to multitask when to use your Warden ability whilst you're doing your Queen charge. But still, I would probably prefer the Frosty. That's what I like to bring. Now, have a look at this. The Queen's beating the wall here to not go to the core, but the King gets rid of that Expo and it forces the Queen to switch, because the Warden here, his job isn't to gut the core. He used the Fireball quite early on the outside of the base, so we do need the Queen to go to the center of the base here. So using the King to funnel the Queen in is quite brilliant. Now, he does get a little unlucky here. I want you to have a look at this. Because the Yeti's here, a Warden will follow a Yeti. So this Warden is going to get no extra value from here. Worth noting, that is a beautiful freeze on the Invis Tower so that we can get the Monolith down. We don't mind if the multi stays up when the Invis goes off, but the Monolith cannot do that. Now, look at this Warden. The Warden's targeting the Builder Hut. And now he's targeting the Ricochet Cannon. He's lost. The Warden's lost, but that's alright. We've got the Rocket Balloons to finish off the base. Haven't even talked about that. So he brings the Rocket Balloons. I was bringing the Kickers and Giant Throwers, but he brings the Rocket Balloons to finish off the base. Swag that Skeleton Spell. Swag the Royal Champion. By the way, in most of the attacks today, he will swag at least 1 hero. This army is quite literally broken, and I could not recommend you enough to learn it. Here is a pesky double poison tower ring base, and we're going to be coming in on the top side. Nice rocket balloon there to get rid of the air defense, and now we can path our Warden a lot better. I believe he's about to place the Flame Flinger over here. Yep, right on cue. But look at this, getting the Eagle Artillery down quite early, and this is handy. Now, it's not the be-all and end-all, but keep in mind with this attack strategy, as soon as you deploy your Queen and the healers with her, you will activate the Eagle no matter what, because you'll already have a Flame Flinger down, Warden and 5 healers, and then Queen and 4 healers. That is a lot of troop space. Now, he does use the Fireball here. It is a nice Fireball. If he'd done the Quake better, I think he would have got this scattered down too. But I personally wouldn't have used the Fireball there. Why wouldn't have I done that? Because yeah, it's good value to get those buildings there, but I think the Warden with the Rage and maybe 1 Invis would have been enough to get through that. You're better off saving your Fireball for later in the attack here. For instance, imagine if we could target, say, one of the Poison Towers with the Fireball. We'd be able to get single Infernos, which are terrible for this attack strategy, obviously. CC, Scatter, Bomb Tower, all of that stuff, and damage the Town Hall too. So you don't have to use your Fireball within the first minute of this attack strategy. I think that's something that's pretty misunderstood. I obviously ran a lot of Fireball and Warden charges last season, and I would often save my Warden ability to the last minute, because it is so good at, like, when you maximize its ability, it's impossible to fail. In saying that, still really good value here for Sicario, and it does set up a really good funnel for the Queen charge. That's something worth saying. We wouldn't have had as good a funnel for the Queen here. So Warden doing his thing. CC does come out, which is a little annoying. Not going to quite get the town hall down, but I mean, look at this. We have not used our king yet, and he's going to swag the king ability. And that is so much more impressive than swagging the RC, in my opinion, because the king, look at the core of this base. Imagine how good the king would be in the core of that base. The king will get so much value. Like, obviously swagging the RC in the last attack, pretty impressive too. Definitely not going to say that's not impressive, but the king is another thing altogether. I think he's a little bit stronger than the Royal Champion, particularly on bases like this. Nice rocket balloons. We've still got 4 spell space and a bunch of troops left. I don't even know why he brings the rocket balloons. They're clearly not needed at all. Completely and utterly crushed. I feel bad for Sarwan, by the way. Sarwan is one of the better Legends League builders we have. You have no chance versus the Fireball. Obviously, the Root Rider is really broken, but I think you can make a case that the Fireball is more broken because it is so easy to swag heroes with this hero equipment. Let's move on to a different style of base here. We have the double invis bases, and these are so good for the Warden. As you can see there, bam, that whole area of the base is gone. But it's a base style where you don't really need the jelly here. The jelly doesn't add anything to that. I don't know why he used the invis at the start. Maybe he's worried about the Warden going down and he wants to delay the healers to see which direction the Warden goes afterwards. But alas, using the rocket balloons on the flanks to set the funnel, and then the Warden goes in nicely. And look at this. This is exactly what I talked about. We haven't even put the siege down, but 9 healers and 2 heroes, plus obviously the Quake and invis, is enough to activate the Eagle. And the Eagle on the Warden is a problem. It will take off about 70% of his health, so if he's taking, or maybe even more than that, if he's taking any other damage, it's very easy for him to die through the Eagle strike, so you do need to keep that in mind. Definitely prefer it if the Eagle goes after the Queen, although that's not a whole lot better. Probably best, if you're genuinely panicking about this, it's not a bad idea to put your king down, because the Eagle will always go after the king, and if you can use your king to funnel the Queen, I mean, that's always going to be good value, right? But coming down to this last compartment now, there is a reason he's saved onto the king, obviously. I mean, look at that. And I really like what he does here. He just uses the log launcher. He doesn't need it to get OP value, but if you can use... Sorry, the CC's going after the Queen, so I'll try and show that as well. But if you can use your Fireball to negate one invis tower area, then use the log launcher to negate another, there's not really a lot the base can do beyond that. Because without the Rage and Poison towers, Town Hall 16 bases really aren't that strong. So we get the king to go in, the invis tower has been knocked out, and look, I mean, we all know what's going to happen here, right? We've watched it 1,000 times. The most balanced hero equipment completely walking through a Town Hall 16 base like it is a hot knife through butter. I mean, look at that, and the king's just casually still got 50% of his hit points left. What a fair play ability there, and yeah, I mean, we're going to swag more spells. We're going to swag the Royal Champion ability. Still a really nice attack, and I like that. With this attack strategy, you have multiple ways to negate these invis tower bases. With the Fireball and the Log Launcher, that is enough to get the job done. We're still swagging the Royal Champion. Could have swagged a whole bunch of troops as well. And the Rage spell too. I mean, completely and utterly wrecked. Nicely done here from Sicario. Let's jump into the final attack. This is quite a unique base. I haven't seen this base style before, but all I can think of when I see this base is Fireball value. You want to target either one of these Rage Towers and you'll clear out basically everything except the opposite Multi-Inferno. So look at this. As soon as this Archer Tower goes down, beautiful. Oh, you don't get the other multi-arch tower. I thought he might. Alas, really nicely done from here. Now, I'm going to reiterate what I said at the start of the video. You don't need a max Fireball to do this. Level 20 is fine with 2 Quakes. That won't be quite enough to take down an Eagle Artillery. But that's kind of what, like, Sicario 1 Quake isn't enough to take down an Eagle Artillery either, right? So it's essentially the same as him, and you've seen how many swag spells he's having every attack of this video. So it's not like you need these spells anyway, and you can definitely do it without that maxed out jelly. In fact, I would be interested to see if it's better without it. Now, I do really like what he does here. So there isn't a lot of flame flinger value on this space. The mortars and ground bows do a really good job of covering everything. Now, when you've got a funnel like this, you would think, well, I should place the queen up here and kind of do the queen walk like this. But really, the only way you fail this base is if the queen walk goes horrifically wrong and you let the warden die. So just puts the siege barracks up the top. That can deal with a lot of the trash buildings and the little value. We're going to put our queen straight into the danger zone, because even if her ability pops early, she'll live through that and get rid of the ricochet cannon and the queen really quickly here. And once you get rid of that, I mean, there's not really that much left on this base. So it's kind of like when you see Stars in the past, he would Lalo straight into all the damage on the base, because if you get through all the damage, you can kind of waltz over the rest of it, particularly once you've already got an OP fireball value. I mean, I can just 2 times through this. The king's going to help get rid of the eagle. The queen's done a good job to save onto her ability, but her job's not to live that long. She's just meant to clear out a little bit of the base here. And yeah, going to swag the royal champion once again. I mean, this army is ridiculous. So congrats to Sicario on a top 10 finish in the world. I'm sure he'll never forget that. I mean, I would love a 1-digit finish, but I should probably work on a top 200 finish before a top 10 finish. And if you want to see the base that Sicario was using in Legends League last season, I'll link the video on the left. We've got the base of his, which finished rank 8, the base of Dimmer, which finished rank 10, and the base of Stars, which finished rank 37.